Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Railway Shed. Today we'll be reviewing hornby number R154, Sir Dinadan. I picked up this locomotive recently at the White Webb's Model Railway Show. I purchased the engine for about £32 as it had a 10% discount on. The box is rather damaged, but comes with its instructions, original loco sheet, as well as the locomotive. Whether or not this locomotive's in the right box is something I'm confused about, as when I looked it up, R number 855 is the Flying Scotsman locomotive of this time period. So it very well may be incorrectly numbered. This is what's found inside the box. The operation instructions is not something I expected to find in this locomotive. However, definitely is a lovely surprise. It's definitely something I will put on my wall. The piece of card that covers the locomotive from sunlight has some short locomotive information as well as a lovely depiction of the engine, as long as the correct R number. Now let's take a look at the locomotive. The locomotive has to be extracted from the box in a different way, being that it has smoke deflectors either side of the smoke box. I'd recommend doing it with two hands rather than just the one. The tender is much easier, only needing you to slide it out. On first impressions, this locomotive is rather beautiful, however has a rather glossy coat of paint. Now let's take a look at the locomotive's detail. The locomotive has brass fittings, which are separately fitted, as well as great brass covering for all the pipes, and a lovely silver for the handrails. However, this builder's plate is slightly off-centre. The smoke deflectors are rather lovely, however are rather easy to remove. Although you might not be able to see it, there is some cab detail present, however it is not painted. There is plenty of room to fit a crew, however. The tender has some scuffing around the decals, however is nicely lined with lovely lettering. The coal load is rather fine as well and looks rather convincing, as well as it having metal wheels. It has no pickups as it's simply a slot-in type of tender connection. The tender in front of the locomotive has no moulded coupling, however utilises the tension lock couplings. There is a hole for a vacuum pipe on front of the engine, however one was not included with it. Let's put the loco on the layout for a power test. Before that, however, I will give you a brief history on the N15 King Arthur classes. The London South Western Railway N15s were built between 1918 and 1927, with a total of 74 built. They were built for heavy passenger work and could reach a top speed of around 90 miles an hour. They are some of the biggest 460s present on the British Railway network. They served under the LSWR, Southern Railway and later British Railways before being withdrawn, where all were scrapped except one. And here's the engine down on my layout. My prediction is that the locomotive won't perform amazingly, however will still run, being that it's from 1974 and is made for a completely different type of track. First, let's see how slow of a speed the locomotive can perform. 10%, 20%, 30% is where the locomotive starts. It's rather jittery and the crawl is rather slow. Remember that it only has the pickups on the main driving wheels. Let's see how similar it is backwards. 10%, 20%, 30%. It seems to be a bit smoother backwards, however is going a bit faster. Let's see how the locomotive performs at a 50% speed test. It's on 50%, however it's barely moving. Now backwards. Overall, the performance is pretty good for an engine that's approaching 50 years old. Definitely a model I'm now rather fond of and am happy to keep in my collection. Here are my ratings for it. Now let's see this locomotive in action. I'll be running it with some Blood and Custard Mark 1s and a few XLLER teaks. I'll leave you with the running footage. Reviews of the other engines should be coming out soon, so thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.